You've also known Elon for a very long time. You've invested, actually you invested it, so you did not invest in Tesla. You thought it was overvalued at the time. But now you've invested very heavily, over $1 billion in XAI. You were an early investor in Twitter, about $200 million.
Exactly.
And
now worth above $2 billion.
Congratulations. And instead of cashing out when Trump acquired Twitter, you've rolled it over into X. So you've got an incredible history with both President Trump and Elon. But why did it take, what fascinates me, that question I can't answer, there's different theories to it. Why do you think the existing administration didn't do the basics, didn't address the debt, did not address the inefficiencies in the government? The amount of regulation there is in some of these states is crazy. And then did not address the border, among other things. What were the hurdles? What changed more than just a new president? It feels like it's a systemic change we're seeing in the US.
Look, to be honest with you, thinking of the Democratic Party, I'm a Saudi, I'm a royalist, neither Democrat or Republican. But at the end of the day, I like the United States to be in good shape. It's very dogmatic. The Democratic Party and the left-wing part of it, they believe in this laissez-faire situation. Open our borders. It's okay to have all those immigrants come, defund the police, and laissez-faire situation. I think it's went a bit too far. Really, the woke movement went a bit too far in the United States, and I think, to me, it was one of the main reasons why the Democratic Party lost. The left of the U.S. Democratic Party, the progressives, really took charge of that party, and they went too much to the left. And I think this was one of the reasons of why the Democratic Party lost.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. That's one of my favorite theories. I think it was on the All In podcast, it was either David Sachs or Chamath. They talk about when one party's in power for too long, they get too complacent, they go too extreme. And we've seen that with the left. And right now, eventually we might see that with the Conservative Party if they're in power for too long. And we saw the sweeping victory of President Trump. So your friend Elon, you've known for a long time, he tends to surprise everybody out of nowhere. And one of the recent surprises is going all in on Trump. That caught me by surprise. Now that started when Trump got shot. I want to go back to that time. Where were you when that happened?
Yeah, I was in Riyadh here when Trump was shot. And Musk took that quick decision from a nationalist point of view, from a patriotic point of view, and went all into Trump. But also, frankly speaking, remember that Musk had a lot of Democrat. He was on the Democratic side, and publicly he went with that. So he was not a Republican or pro-Trump. But to be honest with you, the Biden administration treated Musk very badly.
It's crazy what they did to him.
How can you have in the White House the EV industry meet over there without having Musk, the owner of Tesla, the majority owner of Tesla, being there? How could you own, with all respect to General Motors or Ford, when they were producing maybe hundreds of cars, less than 1,000 at that time, and not invite Musk, the godfather of EV in the whole world, was producing hundreds of thousands of cars, the Tesla owner, into that meeting. So clearly that left very bad taste, I think.
That's one of many things. You remember
and many other stuff, sure.
Do you remember when President Biden sat behind the podium and he said, we need to look into, I can't remember what he said, but I'm paraphrasing, we need to look into Elon, and he's got too much power, and they ask him how, he's like, there's many ways of doing that, and he smiles. That's the president behind the presidential podium saying that. And then he had all these different, the SEC, the FCC, I was sitting with Brendan Carr from the FCC talking about this, all these different agencies target Elon and his companies. It was just heartbreaking to see that they're doing this to the biggest star, the epitome of the American dream. But just going back to the assassination attempt, how Elon went all in, from a strategic perspective, as such a big investor in Elon's companies, the gamble paid off big time. And I remember Tucker Carlson, you remember that interview you did with Elon, he's like, what happens if Trump loses? And Elon was genuinely concerned. He's like, he laughed about it. Now, he said the same thing on my show previously, worried about his life. He said, I'll probably be in jail. I hope I can see my kids. Is that a genuine concern? Do you think that?
No, Frank, look, at the end of the day, to be honest and fair, the United States, with all its problems and issues, had a good legal system. And then I think Musk was laughing and joking when he said you can't just throw a man in prison like this. There's a process and procedure they have to follow. And Musk did not break the law, obviously. So, look, now it's too late. Trump won. It's a fact now. And for sure, Musk will not be in jail. So for Musk, we're going to play a big role for the next 4 years in being positive towards the United States. All the ideas he has, and he's going to do it for free, obviously. He doesn't need this $100,000. I mean, he reached already the $300 billion wealth target. Thanks for all the companies that he has that are all booming and doing great right now. So I think what Musk has on his mind, with the support of President Trump, if they can cut not $2 trillion from the US budget, if they can cut $1 trillion, that's a huge achievement. Even $500 billion annually, that's a huge achievement. Clearly, I'm very fiscally conservative, and I would like him to cut as much cost as he can. And Musk came from a private sector. And when he took over X, we had 8,500 employees there. When he cut them, he went down to 1,500 employees. And I just met Linda few weeks ago, and she told me, 1,500, we're doing great. We're doing even better than with 8,500. So this gives you an idea. From cutting from 8,500 to 1,500, that's almost 70-80% reduction. If you can do, part of that, partly United States, that'd be a huge achievement to save the day.
And there was one concern is that Elon will have too much power. But you had his competitors, Jeff Bezos and Sam Altman, they put out publicly, they said they're not worried. It was in an interview at the New York Times event.
Correct.
They said they're not worried about him abusing that power. That's his competitors saying this. Can you tell me more about Elon? Like, is someone, we know his values, he's very vocal about his values, like you, like President Trump, he speaks his mind. Do you worry about him having too much influence in the US?
Look, Musk is a positive factor. When you have a man like Musk taking X, cleaning it up, and look, many of his enemies do tweet, or now we call them post. They post on X, correct? They hammer him and they attack him inside X. And sometimes he laughingly and jokingly answers them. That's number one. Look at X. Now it's a public discussion forum. Look at the SpaceX. Look how positive it is right now. It's going to save the day by getting those 2 stranded astronauts in the sky. He's going to save the day. Look at all these other companies. They all help the public and the people.
Neuralink, and then you've got the boring company.
And Starlink. Look at Starlink. Starlink is saving the day in many countries. And now they're connected with the mobile phone. The boring company, and I always talk to them and I tell them, it's boring but not boring, frankly speaking. Look at the things they're doing. All these are positive. And when I think of going to Mars, for example, these are positive stuff to humanity. EV, look at Tesla. This is a clean car that doesn't use any fuel. It's use electricity. How could this be a negative factor of the world? Musk could be a positive factor for the international world community and the peace of the world.